Um, win or lose, it says, okay, I got the on game over, but you didn't tell me if it was a win or lose. Now, I could have passed in an event that said win or lose, but I'm lazy, so I just simply said, is the table count 0? Okay, it's a win. And the rectangle I just made, I just basically make it green. It's partly transparent. The alpha is 50%. And then I make a little sound effect, you win, or whatever the sound effect is for winning. Or if there's cards in here, so there's another possibility. Somewhere else in the code we haven't looked at. I know we're already over time, but it's very simple. I'll show it to you. There's another place where we post this event, and it means you lost. So if the table count is not 0, we enter this little bit of code. We make the rectangle red to prevent clicking. This is a prevent clicking rectangle. So in the win case, there's nothing left to click on. But in the lose case, there's still going to be cards on the board. So that rectangle here is really for the lose case. Can't click on the cards anymore. Play the lose sound, and that is it. That's a very unsophisticated version of this game. The one that's integrated into the framework does a little bit something different. It's very straightforward. We didn't get to talk about it today, but people can take it apart on their own if they wish. It's the same file. It just does a little bit of different code. It calls some composer functions and brings up a overlay composer scene that blocks inputs and tells you lost or you won. And that's basically it. I'll show it to you in a moment. Just the show
we definitely had a conversation about that with the previous game, the Endless Runner. So if you haven't had a chance to go back and watch that series, do go watch that because a lot of the material is the same probably.
I hope you can't hear all those kids playing out in the backyard there. Not my backyard.
Get off my lawn.
Somebody else's backyard. Okay, so I just want to make sure we close this out because there's the lose case. The lose case, if we remember, is when the timer gets down to 0, you lose. So the HUD's Lua file has a create function. We don't need to go into it. We talked about it in a previous show. It creates this little rectangle in the background. It creates the text, and it creates this little, it defines a function called timer as a reference in timer label, and then it simply starts the timer, calls it one time, which executes the function, and this function goes through and looks at the value in remaining time, decrements it by 1, creates a little text message, and assigns that text to self.text, which is the timer's text field. And when you do that, it updates this little value right here. But it also checks, is remaining time 0? Because if it gets down to 0, the game is over. And clearly, you haven't cleared the board yet, because if you won, I'd stop doing my work. There's some code out here that shuts off the timer. I didn't actually show that. Assuming it's still running, and remaining time gets to 0, it's going to post the on game over event again, and the listener in game Lua, the same one we just looked at, find it, the same one will enter, it'll destroy the HUD, it will create that rectangle for blocking, and it says, how many cards are in there? Is it 0? Uh-oh, it's not. You lost. Game over. And that's it.
Very good. Very good. So what everyone needs to do now is go download the code, if you haven't already, and experiment with it.
Absolutely. Let me show this a little bigger here, and I'll just show you what this looks like in the frame so people don't feel like we didn't give them. Okay, so the frame is good. Okay, go ahead and look at the standalone version, get your head around that, and then go look at the frame version. And the big change in the frame version is merely that I used a empty composer framework, which you can find in app empty frame. So it's everything you see here with no game code in it. And that way you can look at the empty frame and see how the framework works. And then you can look at the framed version of the game, which has all the code from standalone and all the code from empty frame with a few changes to integrate the code and make it work. And what this does is it's got a list of buttons to give us all kinds of choices on the size of the board. the artwork. So this one is Corona Crush artwork. The board is 4x3, and I can't remember if that's 4 rows by 3 columns. That's probably 4 rows by 3 columns. Or Lost Garden artwork with 6 rows by 5 columns. Did I get that right? Yes. So 6 rows by 5 columns. And it uses Composer to bring in the scene. Now this one's clearly too much for me to solve, so let me do one that's a little quicker. Let's do a nice... Just click away here until I can solve this. If I can... There we go. Help me out here.
Yeah, I'm trying, actually. I was like, where was that blue one? Little chiclets. You're there. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it.
I'm going to do this last one. Boom,
Yeah.
boom. And it brings in an overlay. It slides in from the top, blocks my inputs, doesn't destroy the HUD yet, because it looks nicer that you can say, 34 seconds, I won. You won. Click on menu. It destroyed all that. Slide it off the screen. Back to the menu. It's got the options menu that slides in over the top, sound effects, music. It's got the whole deal.
So definitely enough to get you rolling.
Yeah, this is everything somebody who wants to make a matching game and sort of expand on this concept. Plenty of starting place for them to make this their own, add their own special artwork and special menus and splash screens, and go for it. Use it, modify it, release it.
There you go. Excellent. Well, I think that's good. That's where we should leave it then. Let's let people go and do with it what they will.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for going through all of that. So there you go. So we've got separate episodes on creating the cards, flipping the cards. I think creating and flipping. We're all one hangout. Then we did the grid pattern, and then there's the matching logic complete with some framework elements. So go download the code and experiment with it. And if you publish something, let us know. We'd definitely like to see your work. And now next week we're going to talk about. I wrote it down here somewhere. We're going to talk about Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Jigsaw. We're going to look at the mechanics of Jigsaw. So Ed mentioned this in the previous show, that we've kind of been through the end-to-end game development process. We've talked about the concept, we've looked at how the projects are structured, we've talked about all the different aspects of the game, and we've even gone right up to the end where you put in your splash screen, your game over, your restart, all those kind of elements. What we want to do now is kind of get away from that a little bit and move into just core mechanics. Look at just the quandary piece of things, the part that makes you scratch your head, not necessarily the menu system or the composer scenes or anything like that, because we've already covered that. We want to look at just how does that work, right? How does that happen? So we're going to look at Jigsaw, and one of the first things Ed, you pointed out, of course, is that everybody asks on the Jigsaw, how do they create the pieces, because they're odd-shaped pieces and they change each time usually. And then how do you, I guess, snap them together and that sort of thing? Is that
how do you verify that they're in the right position?
Right, because it's a jigsaw. How do you know when two odd-shaped pieces are interconnected and in the right place? So we're going to talk about that next time, and we'll look at it just in that little piece. So you'll be able to take that piece, go back and look at some of the other stuff that we've done, and you can put it all together and customize it however you want. All right. Now I want to remind everybody to go check out TaskPad Plus. Richard has put a lot of time and effort into that. It's got cloud syncing. So if you're looking for a solution that helps you get organized, or you're just looking for a good, clean example of a non-game application built in Corona, something that has a cloud component to it and is very well done, then they go check out TaskPad Plus. And Richard, is there any place in particular where people can contact you if they have any questions?
Yeah, they can email me at support@littleredrocket.co.uk, or if they look at the TaskPad website, there's an email contact on there.
Okay, so you're not hiding any place.
No, I'm not hiding. I've nothing to hide.
You're one of those developers who actually would enjoy feedback from people.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, good.
Can't hide anymore though.
Yeah, it's very hard to hide anymore. Yeah,
the iOS store, they don't let you not put an email anymore. You have to put one.
Right.
You don't have to read them, though, do you?
No, but
That's a fair point.
my thing is this. I know where the show is passed over, but one thing I always worry about is when you have when you have an email address that can be extracted by
Automation.
automation, it's like opening the door to junk mail. So I'm not so worried about people. I'm worried about computers.
Right.
Emailing.
Right. It can be, yes. It can be. But that's not a problem in this situation because Richard is going to read your emails and give you feedback on your feedback.
Definitely read your emails.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know when the Android version's out, and perhaps you can let your listeners know that it's
Yeah,
there as well.
Yeah, definitely do let us know. We'll send out a notification to everybody, and we do want to have you back on once you've had a chance to live sort of the cloud synchronization piece.
Yeah, we want to hear about that.
Yeah,
I want to hear about that.
I do too. I do too. And hopefully we'll get Chris Byerly on, the developer of Chromium. We'll get him on and chit chat a little bit about it.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being here, and thanks for watching. And be here next Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk all about mobile app development using Corona SDK. Until then, have a great week and happy coding.